Welcome to Politics News Wolf US channel. Russia's occupation of Ukraine and China's claims on Taiwan caused a major crisis in the world. Moscow's plans in Eastern Europe and Beijing's steps in the Indo-Pacific have reintroduced the term Asia-Pacific, which used to denote maritime zones in the Indian Ocean. In this regard, the United States stands out as the guarantor of security roles in these areas, particularly the joint military actions and exercises carried out by the USA with the Asian bloc mobilized some forces under the leadership of the U.S. Navy. NATO's Pacific moves are drawing double checkmate to China and Russia. The Chinese military is on high alert as the joint alliance of the US, Japan, and South Korea advances. This came as Seoul and Tokyo sought to mend relations amid a push for more intelligence sharing between them and the US, conducting more frequent exercises with its Asian partners. The U.S. exercises with its Asian partners point to recent military cooperation and military expansion plans between countries, including information sharing and joint weapons programs. China's military spokesman does not often call for the Chinese military to be on high alert. However, it is obvious that Beijing's red alert is a response to the military exercises that the U.S. has intensified with other countries in the region. The U.S. Navy aircraft assigned to the USS Ronald Reagan warship will operate on Iwo Jima for 9 flights through May 19. The U.S. Department of Defense announced on Monday. In addition, Reagan patrols the area with the USS Millis. Meanwhile, the U.S. Navy's Carrier Air Wing 5 aboard the USS Ronald Reagan war begin a field carrier landing exercise on Iwo Jima on Tuesday as part of Yokosuka-based carrier strike Group 5's preparation for the Western Pacific Patrol. But during this time period, the Chinese Navy was also conducting risky exercise activities in the Pacific and Indian maritime areas. Russia, on the other hand, was conducting military exercises on the Pacific and in the Sea of Japan to support China, which it saw as an ally due to the Ukraine war. However, the U.S. administration under Joe Biden has recently taken a brand new step against these dangers from both China and Russia. The area where the U.S. Navy forces took the stage this time was the Gulf of Thailand. Let's explore the US checkmate move, which has been a bombshell on the international agenda, and how China and Russia are now facing this step. The Royal Thai Navy and the U.S. Navy 7th Fleet recently started the Thailand 2023 exercise cooperation water readiness and training in Sathai, putting China and Russia on red alert. Thailand is a bilateral naval exercise on land in Sathai and at sea in the Gulf of Thailand. As part of this exercise, the Independence variant, Littoral War SS Mobile aboard the MMH-60R Seahawk will meet at sea with the RTN frigates HTMS Nara, Swan, HTMS Bangpang, and HTMS Kray. This exercise becomes a model for us. Tied cooperation that evolves in complexity, allowing joint navies to improve operations and tactics in response to emerging challenges. In other words, Thailand is America's oldest treaty ally in Southeast Asia. Carrots is a demonstration of the United States' unwavering commitment to Thailand and its like-minded allies and partners in promoting a free and open Indo-Pacific that preserves regional peace, prosperity, and stability. Carrots includes maritime training, communications division tactics, naval resupply approaches, anti-submarine warfare visitation, broadside search and seizure, naval area awareness, air defense exercises and deck landing qualification exercises. The shore phase consists of relationship building activities, classroom subject exchanges, and training highlights at the Carrot exercise include a series of public performances and exchanges between Navy bands from both countries. A sports day and community service activities. Additional participating U.S. assets in the exercise include a P-8 Poseidon and Destroyer Squadron, U.S. 7th Fleet and Naval Special Warfare personnel. As the U.S. Navy's forward-deployed Darren in Southeast Asia, Darren 7 serves alternatively as the primary tactical and operational commander of coastal combat ships deployed to Singapore. The 7th Fleet in the Carrot exercise is the U.S. Navy's largest forward-deployed squadron, and routinely interacts and works with allies and partners to maintain a free and open Indo-Pacific region. Therefore, this military exercise by the United States and Taiwan will most likely make China doubtful against making progress in the naval areas. In addition, Carrots is a message to Russia, which, albeit indirectly, supports China and expects military aid from it because Russia's taking steps to support China's threatening Taiwan in the Pacific and claiming rights over this country. Thailand, which has coasts on both the Pacific and the Indian Ocean, has a critical location in this regard. In other words, the military exercises of the USA and its partners are aimed at trapping the naval forces of Russia and China in the Indo-Pacific. Besides the Carrot military exercise, China has also become uneasy about other U.S. interactions with Asian countries regarding security actions. After CARA, the Beijing administration reported that the USA, South Korea, and Japan aimed to establish a tripartite intelligence sharing network, similar to the Five Eyes, consisting of Australia, the UK, Canada, and New Zealand. In fact, with the momentum coming from Washington, it comes to the fore that Seoul and Tokyo are trying to cooperate more and overcome the obstacles in their relations. As part of this purpose, if you remember, Japanese Prime Minister Fuo Kai recently met with South Korean President in Seoul. After Wai's visit to Tokyo in March, Seoul and Tokyo have pledged to deepen ties and ease tensions over wartime histories and other issues. In recent years, if the United States, Japan, and South Korea form an integrated alliance, it is thought that the foundations of bloc security in Northeast Asia will be solid, but China is worried about this. So what were the moves that prompted the USA, Japan, and their allies to take such drastic measures and unite like never before against China and Russia? The latest warning from China comes after the United States, South Korea, and Japan held anti-submarine exercises in April, followed by joint naval missile defense exercises to address threats from North Korea. If you remember last month, the high tension between China and Taiwan had mobilized the U.S. Navy and its allies. The Chinese Navy's reckless exercises in the Taiwan Strait and the show of strength on the coast of Japan with the Russian Navy pushed the U.S. 7th Fleet to take drastic measures. The U.S. Navy's 7th Fleet demonstrated in the South China Sea, Philippines, Japan, and Taiwan Straits to protect Taiwan and prevent China's risky exercises. In contrast, the Chinese Navy made risky crossings around Taiwan this week and put on a tough show off the coast of Japan. However, the moves from the USA and Japan against Russia and China were not delayed. The Russian Navy forces conducted military exercises in the Sea of Japan most recently, in which they used Caliber missiles. According to Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu, 25,000 personnel, 167 Navy ships, 12 of which are submarines, and 89 aircraft participated in the week-long exercises. The Russian Army closed off parts of the Sea of Tz and the Sea of Japan to fire torpedoes, missiles, and artillery. In fact, Putin fired the Russian Navy Pacific Fleet Admiral because these exercises did not have any psychological effect against the USA and Japan. China, on the other hand, is constantly striving to destroy the safe route that the U.S. is trying to establish in the Taiwan Strait crossings and critical parts of the rest of the Pacific. According to the Joint Staff Office of the Japanese Ministry of Defense, Chinese warships have been circling the Japanese main island since last week. Chinese Navy-guided missile destroyers, CNS Guiyang, Kiki, and the fleet oil ship CNS Tahu were seen sailing northeast on Friday in an area 25 miles northwest of Rebo Island, 30 miles from the northwest tip outside the main island of Hokkaido. The 5 ships then sailed into the Sea of Olts through the Lapuru Strait, which separates Hokkaido from Russia's Saha Island. On Monday, the Chinese shape was spotted sailing southwest in an area 60 miles southeast of Sisu Island, part of the Isu Islands chain south of Japan's capital, Tokyo. Chinese warships were marred by Japanese Navy destroyer JS Silwa, fleet oiler JS Hamina Fleet Air Wing. The Beijing administration claims that stronger military cooperation between the countries in the Pacific with the USA and the West will also lead to an intensifying arms race in the region. But what Beijing fears is actually the efforts of these countries to protect themselves. Because according to a published defense plan, South Korea will increase its military spending by $261 billion in 5 years to 2027, an annual increase of about 6.8%. Meanwhile, Japan aims to double its defense spending to 2% of GDP by 2027. Japan also plans to upgrade Aegis destroyers by 2027. Thus, the USA can install Tomahawk cruise missiles in these areas. Although China claims that these are not security measures, the Asian bloc hopes to breathe the sign of relief away from the Chinese threat. With the alliance steps initiated by the USA, it is also among the possibilities that the USA may try to establish an Asia-Pacific version of NATO based on its alliance with Japan and South Korea. In the future, the application of the NATO role model to these areas may actually be a brand new move. The Beijing administration, on the other hand, continues to slander the steps of the US and Asian alliances, as it cannot easily move the danger elements and Navy forces in the Asia-Pacific areas. Officials have described the latest moves on nuclear cooperation as dangerous after Washington and Seoul struck a key deal that allowed the United States to deploy nuclear-armed submarines to South Korea during Wi's visit to the United States last month. China has argued that signals from Japan that it could host U.S. nuclear weapons and even develop its own nuclear weapons would undoubtedly increase the risk of regional instability with U.S.-China relations locked in a downward spiral. China has sought to lure U.S. allies and partners by repeatedly urging them to maintain their strategic autonomy, which is a code to stay away from Washington. But the Asian bloc seems to have made its decision. These countries now want to side with the USA, which is planning to build a safe corridor. Thank you for watching the video. We value your opinion. Please comment, share them with us, and thank you so much once again for watching this video. See you in my next video.